Mansfield and Mates, and we thought, you know what? She hasn't been with us for a quarter of a year.
Feels like quarter of a century.
Colin.
Hello.
Hello. And there were various reasons why Sam left the show. One of them was because her own business was developing at such a rate that she had to make a decision as to whether she could stay on here or she had to devote more time to her own business. And she very wisely
broke up with you.
Chose her own business. No, but it was a very wise choice.
But you know I love you.
No, I know that.
Okay, good.
And all that rubbish.
Yes. You can say it back if you know.
What?
You can say I love you back.
I love you back.
Right, I'm done. I'm going.
You're the guest.
It's true.
You stay until the end, which could be a very long time. Where you going? Now, how is it going?
No, it's going very well.
Okay.
It's going very well. It's so interesting what you see because it's all the same things. Everyone has the same problems in varying ways.
Okay, now explain to everybody else who doesn't have any problem in the same way. What do you actually do?
Sorry, when you ask me a serious question, I don't know what to do with it. So what I actually do is I life coach. And I must be honest, before I became a life coach, I thought it was a made-up thing.
Yeah.
But what coaching does, which is different to therapy, is therapy will work you out to work out how you got to where you are now. Mm-hmm. And we work as coaches in, here's where you are now, but where do you want to be? And then we work an action plan. So we're not looking to see how you got there. Because the reality is you're there, right? Mm-hmm. There's no point working out that 25 years ago something happened. Mm. You know that, and you're here. So when somebody comes to see me and they say horrible things about themselves, like I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that, and life has passed me by, I go, well, are you fat or are you just overweight? And has life passed you by or have you just stopped trying? And you've also got to, and coaching's a little bit more, it's a little more pushy. Because you have to say to somebody, how much do you want to get to where you're going? So I recently had a client who came to see me who said he can't lose weight. And he's done everything. So I said, well, what have you done? He said, well, I've joined a very good gym. I said, great. How often do you go? No, I don't go. And I said, well, what are you eating? No, I've subscribed to this meal prep service. It's quite expensive. So I said, okay, and how's that going? No, I don't like the food. It's very bland. I said, okay, so what do you do with it? He goes, sometimes I put like cream and stuff on it. I'm like, okay, all right. And I said, and what else are you doing? Are you walking? Are you drinking lots of water? No, I don't like water. I said, so you're doing nothing. And you're spending a fortune on doing nothing. What's it about? And it wasn't about what he was eating. It was about what was eating him, which was that his wife had just left him for somebody better looking and thinner. Okay. But he had picked up the weight after she left because he was so unhappy. He was comfort eating and he also didn't see a point to looking good because the person he had wanted to look for good for had gone. So we worked on self-esteem issues then. And that is what's important. People often just can't stand themselves. I did a talk on Saturday morning to a bunch of women who had taken time off to come to this breakfast. When I say they'd taken time off, they'd taken time off their weekend because they felt that they needed to tell their kids and their husbands, to get their permission that they could come out. And I said, the problem with women these days is we wear suffering like it's a badge of honor. Like if we're having a good day, we somehow have to downplay that because it's wrong. So I said to the women in the room, I said, hands up, how many of you have got to the end of the day and gone, oh, I was so busy doing stuff for everybody else that I didn't even eat today. And somebody else will go, oh, I had that and I'm going to have to work all the way through the night on a presentation. I didn't eat either. And this is the kind of thing that we assume makes us good people. Ask yourself, how many times have you met a woman who's on diet, who says, I've been so good today? And I always say, does that mean that you saw somebody across the road who couldn't see, or you gave sandwich to a beggar? No, I was so good today means I deprived myself. I didn't have anything nice to eat, Yeah. And we don't like to ask for things either. We all have been brought up to be so nice. So we don't like to, so I said to these ladies, I said, how many of you felt they had to get permission to come out today? And 80% of them put up their hands. I said, did you? I mean, did anyone in the family go, I forbid it. You will not go out. You will not go to a breakfast and see Sam speak. And they all started laughing. I said, did anyone's husband say anything other than, cool, see you later? I said, so we force ourselves into these positions. And then I told them, and it's advice I give all my clients, which I actually got from you. You won't believe it. It's actually true that he gave me some of the most powerful advice that I use in session. So I said to these ladies, when did you last do something for yourself? And how many of you are waiting for it to be your turn? For the kids to move out? For your husband to take up golf and actually be good at it and go often? You know, how many of you are waiting? And I told them about my Bosphorus swim. And do you remember that? We stood on the balcony together at Hot. And I was vacillating because it's expensive to do the Bosphorus. It's about 20,000 Rand. And I said to you, I really want to do it. And it's a once in a lifetime thing to swim from Asia to Europe. But it's so much money. And is it fair? And you said to me, how long do the women in your family live? And my granny lived to 42 and her granny lived to 42 and my mum died at 71. So to this day, I cannot work out how we worked out that I'd get to 75. And I can only blame it on your 8% for maths and my standard grade C. But you turned to me when we worked that out and you said, so you've got 30 summers and 30 winters. What do you choose? And I did the Bosphorus that year. And that's what I say to these ladies. I go, if you're only going to get to do fun stuff when your kids move out,
you've cut out a good few years of your life.
Yeah, and you've not enjoyed your kids because you've been waiting for, but then you don't realize that they're gone, and now you can do stuff that you want, but you miss them.
Yeah.
And the other great thing that we work with is, I've got a mindfulness course starting in June. And I learned mindfulness. I did this course. I loved it so much I bought the rights to it. And dressed it up a bit myself because I learned so many lessons from having COVID. Because you have to be mindful when you have COVID because you have porridge brain. So you can only do one thing at once. And when you do one thing at a time and you do things mindfully, the world slows down in a good way. So it's kind of like making food. Martin and I make food completely differently. So when I cook, which is rare, but when I cook, I like the recipe book out and I measure everything out fastidiously. Martin gets meat, chucks in some spices and herbs, says we should have it with pasta instead of rice. We both come up with a really good meal, but
in different ways.
And it's about finding your way of getting from A to B. And I always talk about the magazine way of doing things. So you'll read a magazine, and it's usually a ladies' magazine or a diet magazine saying, this is what you have to do. But it doesn't take into account that everyone's different. So when I do an exercise program, I can't use weights and leg weights and all of that because I'll get hurt. I'm a delicate snowflake. And if I diet, I can't give up carbs because I love my bread. So I just make it work for me. And it's how you can make life work for you. And that's what I coach. Imagine how your life could look if I got hold of you earlier.
I'd be trash.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. So, are there a lot of you around?
So there are quite a few. And there's different ways you can find us. So I specialize in transformational coaching, but I've also got, since COVID actually, I've picked up a lot of clients who want to do recovery work. So in COVID, people who drank so much and came to the end of COVID and they'd become criminals without meaning to. How many people bought alcohol and cigarettes off the street? So people who would normally never even consider going through a red robot had become criminals, right? And they had to ask themselves, why did I need to drink so much? What was it about the situation? So it's dealing with different issues. So if it suddenly happened to you, it's to go, right, well, where are you now? How do you get back to where you were before? What problems have you got that we can sort out and neutralize so your need to block so much out is gone because there's not so much to block out? I'm good, eh?
Is it working on the small things?
Mostly. So,
You know, because I just find that when I'm faced with a problem, there's this huge problem that I have to sort out. And when I stand back and look at it from various angles, I find that it's not a huge problem. There are a few small problems which other people have to actually sort out, and then you can move on.
So a lot of issues are people not wanting to talk about stuff. So they'll get crosser and crosser and crosser, but they won't bring it up until suddenly there's this massive explosion. So I have one client who hated his wife being late, hated her being late, but never said anything. So she'd be 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. And one day he'd had a terrible day at the office. They were supposed to go out for dinner and she was 20 minutes late. And he lost it. He shouted at her in this restaurant. So of course she shouted back and it was a horrible fight. But actually, it was nothing to do with the restaurant. It was because of what had happened during the day and he needed an outlet. And just imagine if he had said to her the first time, please don't be late. Because 9 times out of 10, we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. We don't do these things on purpose. We don't realize they matter. And you're right about the small problems. So when we get to the end of a session, we have commitments. Well, they have commitments. I just write them down and they write them down. And it's only ever 20% out of comfort zone. And the reason for that is this. Think about, stretch yourself. I'm sure you've never said it because I've known you for many years and you've never said it. I'm sure you've heard other people say, next week I'm going to gym 5 times. And then they get to like Wednesday and they haven't been once. And that's because you're working at 100% resistance if you haven't been going to gym at all. So instead, go to gym once. People go, well, that won't make any difference. I said, you'll be lapping the you that you are on the couch. So go once, go twice. Anything else is gravy. And you'd be astounded how many people, when they're only faced with a little bit out of comfort zone, can get to that easily.
Yeah.
Had another client who wanted to lose weight, and she eats a family-sized slab of mint bubbly every night.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm going to give up chocolate. I said, really? How many days do you think that's going to last? Can you realistically not eat chocolate for 7 days? Maybe you can. Oh, no, it'll be very hard. I said, so she's on 2 mint bubblies a week. Family size. She can choose how she eats them. If she wants to have 10 squares on one night, or she wants to save the whole lot up and blow it up on the weekend, it's on her. But it makes a difference. And it makes a difference how we think of ourselves, because we get proud of ourselves, right? With every little achievement, maybe I could do more. And that's the thing, is to remind yourself that you're actually an awesome person and you can do lots of stuff. And the other thing we work a lot on is negative self-talk. So I have a lovely lady who comes to see me. And before I came to see you, I said, can I use your example? She's like, yes, you can. So she was selling her house. And she's one of those people who's always in control of everything. You know, everything's on a spreadsheet, including lunchbox menu stuff. And it wasn't that the house sale fell through, but the bank who was financing the bond wanted their own evaluator to go out. So everything was on hold. And she arrived going, oh, my life's going to be so awful. And if we don't sell this house, what are we going to do? Because we're supposed to immigrate and I don't know. And the school year starts in September and I've already... And I said, what are you in control of? What can you do? Oh, I've done everything I can. I made the house beautiful for the evaluator. I said, right. What else could you do? Oh, I'm not in control of anything. So I said to her, because she loves to cook, I said, peel a potato. She said, what? I said, peel a potato. Go and peel a potato. You know how to peel a potato. It's very easy for you. You cook a lot. Peel a potato. Because what happens when we get into a state is our limbic system, which is all our emotions and our thought patterns and our negative self-beliefs, that takes over. It triggers our R system, our reptilian brain, which is our survival brain, going, well, if she's this emotional, something awful must be happening, floods the system with cortisol, and we get more anxious. And the neocortex, because the universe has played a sick joke on us, your thinking, rational brain rolls up the towels at that point and leaves the beach. And that's why when someone's upset and you tell them to calm down, they cannot. They're chemically incapable of calming down. Also, in the history of calming down, has anybody told you to calm down and you've actually calmed down?
No.
Right, there we go. So if you go and peel a potato or paint something, if that's your thing, or go for a walk around the garden or have a hot bath, anything that you feel in control of, That takes your emotional level down, which brings your neocortex up, and you can think rationally. So in your case, actually, as a cook, peel a potato. Good, eh?
Yeah, you are good. No, I'm really, really proud of that.
Oh,
No, I am.
proud of you too.
Because you took a big step out of your zone. Huge step.
Yes, that was more than 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like 120%.
Yeah, it was. And I watched you take that huge step. And I saw the step. And I'll tell you something now that I've never told you.
Uh-oh.
That I was very scared for you when I saw you taking
Aw.
that step. Because it was a step that you had to take. But I didn't think you needed to take as big a step. You obviously felt within yourself
Yeah.
that you needed to take the bigger step. And I saw you stepping 120 times.
120%.
120%,
Yeah.
I beg your pardon, I was looking for the word. 120% of what you were going to do. And I was thinking, if Sam really, really wants to overstretch herself, she should be going for 80. And you said, no, I'm going to do to yourself
Lots and lots.
120.
Like jelly tarts.
And it obviously has worked for you.
Yeah, I love it.
And there's a part of you that is also very giving. So you're seeing people that you are helping standing up for themselves, getting up and doing things, changing their attitude,
beautiful.
all of that. And that fulfills that part of you that needs to be fulfilled as well.
The absolute best gift is in the last session when someone says, I don't think I need to come back for a while. Are you cross? And I go, no, that's the greatest news ever. Because that means I've equipped you with enough tools and you know how to use them. You've got your toolkit and you can go into the world and do anything. And that's the point. When someone says, I had a client who said to me, Sam, I know it's 90% me and 10% you. He said, but we've made a hell of a team. And that's meat and drink.
Now, you know what I'm going to buy you?
What?
I'm going to go and find one. I don't know where I will, because they're not in use anymore.
Uh-oh.
But I will go and find one somewhere. And I'm going to ask you to do something with it.
I think this is censored.
I'm going to ask you to put a certain item in your room where you consult people. With a notice next to it. And the thing that I'm going to buy you, if I can find it, and I'm sure I will, is an old school bell. So when your client has that emotion, they can ring the bell and leave the room.
That's so cool.
Because it'll bring a form of closure to them
Yeah.
as well.
Might upset the dogs though.
True.
But I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
This has been cool.
It has been very cool.
It's a very comfy couch. When I was still doing this with you, you made me sit on a very hard chair. Think how things could have been different if I could sit down like this.
I hope nothing would have been different. You would have still been coaching.
I would.
If people want to get hold of you and find out more and maybe join one of your courses, how do they do it?
So I've got a very nice website, samcowan.coza. That's C-O-W-E-N, not A-N. I got a very rude email from someone saying that your website doesn't exist. I said it does, just not the way you've spelt it. So it's samcowan.coza, samcowan.coza. All my email address, phone number, everything that you need is there. And come and join me for a session. And I see people from all over the world, which is super cool.
Oh, yeah,
Super cool
so.
because of Zoom. That's the one thing COVID's really given us is that we're not so scared anymore to be in another city or another country. So location's not an issue.
Cool.
Cool.
Nice to see you again.
And you. Don't you owe me coffee? Bye.
Bye. Available, so she's technically not
She probably doesn't want to deal with somebody so stupid.
I do miss you. Even though it doesn't sound it.
That's because you're only human.
Okay, well, we ready to go when you go.
Oh, we've been ready for 70 years.
It's been recording.
Okay.
All right, you just go and I will answer questions and possibly just do my own thing
Okay.
if it looks like you're getting slow.
Okay.